friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden. Today we are doing a very exciting video. This is going to be the last in the series of like 2022 wrap-up videos looking into the year of 2023. I've already did my top solo games of 2022. I did my top anticipated games of 2023, and now we are doing my top games overall of 2022, games that were released in 2022. So all of these games do have a 2022 release date. They were readily available in the year of 2022. Some of these were released earlier in the year, some of them a little bit later. And I quickly want to mention that I know that my game of the year over at the Fire and Ice Awards by Tim Chewin and Sam from Lore of the Board, if you guys haven't gone and seen that video, I definitely recommend it. I will put it up here, but basically a bunch of creators came together and we all chatted about our favorite games of 2022, and mine was Merchants of the Dark Road. This is by Elf Creek Games and designed by Brian Sewer, and this was definitely my favorite game of 2022, but I do want to mention that we did have to pick those by like late September, early October, I think is when I chose that Merchants of the Dark Road was going to be my favorite. And a lot of the games that I have in front of me now were released in like late 2022. And some of them, I will say, I think have maybe surpassed Merchants of the Dark Road, a few of them. But I will kind of chat to you guys around where Merchants of the Dark Road would be if it was on the list, but I didn't want to chat too much about it because I've already chatted a ton about Merchants of the Dark Road, but just know that this is in the list. I'll let you guys know kind of where it would land, but yeah, it's such a fantastic game, and no, I have not forgotten about it. I just don't want to put it on the list and talk about it even more than I have already chatted about it, because I'm sure you guys know. Your girl loves Merchants of the Dark Road. But yes, I just wanted to mention that. And then I also quickly want to just plug that if you guys haven't seen the video before this one, it is that I finally launched the Board Game Garden Patreon. And I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has decided to support the Board Game Garden thus far. Thank you guys so freaking much. I was so happy on Monday with just the amount of support that I had. I was not expecting that, and I'm just so thankful for this community and for you guys deciding to support and allowing me to do this full time. I am just so excited for the future of the Board Game Garden. And if you guys are watching this right now and want to know how to best support the Board Game Garden, the Patreon is the best way to do that. And if you guys do want to, it's never any like pressure. It's just there if you are wanting to support me as a content creator. I will have the link down below to the Patreon. It's kind of a place where I'm going to be adding some additional content. I've already put up a video over there, a few different polls and posts, and I'm just so excited to continue bringing content to all of my patrons over there. All of the content here is not going to change. It's still going to be just as much content here and pretty much the same content that I've been doing. I'm just going to be doing some additional stuff over there on the Patreon. So yes, thank you again to anyone that has decided to support thus far. And if you do want to, it's always down in the description box. But without further ado, I'm going to stop yapping and we are going to get into these top games of 2022. If you guys want to keep on watching, just do that. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy. Comment down below what your favorite game of 2022 was, released in 2022. Hit that subscribe button if you have yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. And without further ado, let's get into this video, shall we? Okay, so I'm starting off with a few honorable mentions. One is going to be my favorite party game of 2022. I think I've chatted about this before, but I always find it really hard to group together party games and then like big strategic board games. I just find it hard in my brain to like compare the two. So I am going to be talking about my favorite party game of 2022. I'm going to talk about my favorite cooperative game of 2022, because if you do not know, I'm typically not a huge lover of cooperative games. Me as someone that loves to work on my own thing, I'm a huge solo gamer. I love just individual puzzles and working on my own thing. I typically don't go for cooperative games, but I did want to talk about one that I absolutely love. And then we're also going to do my top expansion of the year, which it's actually a cooperative expansion, so that's kind of funny. But anyways, moving into my first honorable mention, these are just gonna be quick. The first is my favorite party game of 2022, and that is A Green Team Wins. This is published by 25th Century Games and designed by Nathan Thornton. And this is a fantastic party game where you are trying to be on the green team. I'm sure you guys know how this plays because I've talked about it many times, but if you're new here, this is a fantastic party game where you're trying to be on the green team, and the way to get onto the green team is that you have to answer a question off of a card, and you have to answer what majority of the people at the table are answering. So, for example, a card could be flipped that says, fill in the blank, blank party, and you could automatically in your head say, it's birthday party. So you're gonna write down birthday party, everyone's gonna show their answers, and if birthday is the majority of what people say at the table, everyone that has said birthday flips over to the green team, they get points, and you are trying to be the person at the end of the game that has the most points. And once you get on the green team once, you get 1 point, and then I think if you stay on the green team consistently, you get 2 points each round, and whoever has the most points at the end wins. Such a good party game, and just a good one to like have a lot of like fun conversations. People are like, oh, everyone, you know what the right answer is. Come on, you know what it is. And there's just like some fun table talk that happens with this game that is just absolutely hilarious. But yes, that was my favorite 2022 party game. Moving into my honorable mention of my favorite cooperative game of the year. This is a game that I actually backed on Kickstarter. I like late pledged it, and I'm so happy that I did because this is honestly just like one of my favorite cooperative games in general, and that is Paint the Roses. This is published by North Star Game Studios and designed by Ben Goldman, and I love this game so much. It is based in the world of Alice in Wonderland, which is one of my favorite movies, and basically you are trying to complete the garden. The garden is made up of a bunch of hexagon tiles that have different shaped shrubs on them. It's like the different suits, so there's like diamond shrubs, heart shrubs, spades, and clubs, and then there's also colors of roses as well. And you are trying to complete the garden of these tiles before the Queen of Hearts catches up to you and chops off your head. So basically everyone has these whim cards that are two different things. There are easy, medium, and hard whim cards. The easy ones have just 2 colors of roses. The medium ones have either 2 colors of roses or 2 shapes of shrubs, and then the hard ones can be both of those as well as a mixture of the two. So it could have a pink rose and a diamond shrub or whatever. And you are trying to get your group to guess what your whim card is by placing cubes onto the board. You first place a tile, one of the hexagon tiles, into the garden. You're placing a cube on that tile to say that the cube that I placed, as well as something adjacent to that tile, could be a few, it could be just one, is what is on my whim card. So if my whim card was a yellow and a purple rose, and I placed a yellow tile that had 2 purples adjacent to that yellow tile, I would put 2 cubes to let everyone at the table know that there are 2 matches of what my whim card is, and then they would be able to guess, is your whim card yellow and purple? If it was, we would move ahead. And then the Queen of Hearts would also move, but she moves double if you get it wrong, and then if she ever catches up to you, you lose. I will say that it's pretty complicated to explain, and it's pretty difficult to win, but we have won a few times. There's a bunch of different modules in that one that I got, because I got the deluxe edition as well, but we haven't played any of the modules yet, but I want to. But it is just such a fantastic deduction game. I am a huge fan of deduction, and when you have deduction mixed with cooperative, it's really fun, and I think that's what makes that cooperative game something that I really enjoy. So that is Paint the Roses, my favorite cooperative game of 2022. And then lastly, for my honorable mentions, I have my favorite expansion of the year, and like I mentioned in the intro, this is a cooperative expansion of a game that I absolutely love, and that is Viticulture World. This is obviously published by Stonemaier Games, and it's designed by 2 other people, not Jamie Stegmaier. Designed by Mihir Shah, I believe that's how you pronounce it, as well as Francesco Testini. art by Andrew Bosley, which I love Andrew Bosley's art. But Viticulture World basically just makes viticulture cooperative, but you're still pretty much the entire time working on your own thing, but you're just trying to, as a group, make a certain amount of points and then a certain amount of, there's another track, I forget what it is, but I think it's like influence or something, but you're just trying to get points and things together. So I think that's why I enjoy this one, is because you're still doing your own thing, but you're working together with all of your own things, if that makes sense. And Viticulture, like I said, is one of my favorite games. It is a worker placement game where you are producing wine, you're making the grapes, you're making the wine, you are fulfilling orders of the wine to get points. And there's this like interesting tile addition things that you can do throughout the game where you are spending money to add different tiles to the board to change the actions or make the actions more valuable or better. And I really, really enjoy that part of the game. Again, this one is pretty difficult. I don't think we've actually won Viticulture World yet. It actually goes through a bunch of different countries, and we've started off with the easiest one, and we have still yet to beat the easiest one. So it's a very difficult cooperative expansion, but I really enjoy the challenge of trying to complete it. And we do want to play this one again to try to beat it finally, but we will see how that goes. But that is Viticulture World, my favorite expansion of 2022. I do also know that you can play it solo, so maybe I'll try it solo one time. I don't know how that really works, and if it would make it any easier, probably not, but anyways, yes, that was my favorite expansion of 2022. But yeah, those are the honorable mentions. Let's get into the top 10. So starting with my number 10, which I just realized how funny it is that I placed this at the number 10 spot. But my number 10 is 10 Penny Parks. That is hilarious. If you guys don't know, my dog's name is Penny, so it's 10 Penny Parks. That's kind of funny. But this game is published by Thunderworks Games and is designed by Nate Linhart. And this is a game where you are creating your own amusement park. This is a theme that I absolutely love. And I think this might be my favorite theme park game so far. I really enjoy it. It is a mix of worker placement as well as like tile placement, which is a really cool mixture of two mechanics that I absolutely love. The tile placement in this is really interesting, where usually in tile placement games, you're trying to fit things perfectly together, but with this one, you aren't allowed to do that. You actually have to have space in between everything. Things can only be attached by the corners of the tiles. They can't have any flat edges right beside each other. So it's really interesting that way. It's really brain burny that way, with trying to work out that spatial puzzle of creating your amusement park. You have workers that are placing to get certain rides. You have objectives, so you're trying to get certain rides to put into your amusement park to get those objectives. And you are trying to take out trees to have more space to fill in. It's a really cool mechanism that is found in Barron Park, where there's spaces on your amusement park that if you cover it up, you get that certain thing. You're moving up some different tracks. I think there's joy, thrill, and awe. And if you're like the furthest at the end of each round, you get a bonus. So you're like really trying to get furthest on the track at the end of each round. And there's also like, you can buy victory points, or like it's basically representing you paying for advertisements, and your victory points are guests. So it makes sense that at the end of the round you can pay a certain amount of money to advertise that ride to get more guests, aka victory points, and whoever has the most guests or victory points at the end of the game is the winner. And I just adore this game so much. It is very fun, and like I said, it is my favorite in that theme of building an amusement park. The art is absolutely fantastic by Vincent Dutrait, and I love it very much. So that is my number 10, 10 Penny Parks. Moving into my number 9. This is, I think, probably the cutest, oh, no, maybe not. This is one of the cutest games on the list, but my number 9 is Creature Comforts. This is published by KTBG, or Kids Table Board Games, and it is designed by Roberta Taylor. And this, like I said, is one of the cutest games on this list. I love this world of Creature Comforts, or I believe it's Maple Valley. There is another game in this series coming out called Maple Valley, but I think that's where this all takes place, a little place called Maple Valley. And basically you are a family trying to create the coziest den before winter hits so that you are nice and cozy as winter goes by. And it is just so much fun. Again, it has a really cool mixture of mechanisms, just like 10 Penny Parks, where there is some like dice mitigation, which I'm really in love with these days, as well as worker placement and a little bit of, it's not really tableau building, but you are getting cards that are in front of you that will get you victory points in different ways. So I guess it's a little bit of tableau building, resource management. Basically on your turn, you are going to be rolling 2 dice, which are your family die, and those ones are going to be the numbers that you know you can use. And then there's also going to be town die, but you have to place your workers out onto the main board before you know what the town die are going to be. And where you place your workers are going to require specific dice numbers. And so you're looking at your family die saying, okay, I have these 2 numbers, but what other numbers am I going to get? Let me place my workers here and hopefully I get those numbers. And then they have this mechanism that if you don't, or if you're not able to use one of your workers, you do get a lessons learned token. So you know, you kind of get rewarded even though it didn't work out, which is nice. And then those lesson learned tokens are going to allow you to mitigate or switch the dice numbers on a future turn. So it's really nice there. And then where all your workers are, that you are able to place dice there as well. You get those resources in order to buy different cards and place them in front of you. Just different cozy things. You can also purchase different like buildings that will help you throughout the game. Overall, it's a very chill game. There's not like a lot of stress in it because even if you do place a worker, you're still gonna get a lessons learned token. So it's like okay in the end. But it's a comfort game, clearly. It's called Creature Comforts. It brings me a lot of comfort and I absolutely love it. So that is my number 9, Creature Comforts. So my number 8 is actually a game that I didn't expect to like as much as I do. And this is a game, I will say I haven't played it for a while. I think we played it like 3 or 4 times when we first got it. And I don't know if this can be played solo. Maybe I should, oh yeah, it can, 1 to 4 players. But this is a surprise game to me because I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did. The like art and the theme and stuff doesn't really jump out to me right away, but that is Lacrimosa. This is published by Devere Games and is designed by Gerard and Farron, and this is all about music and the theme of Mozart, I believe. It says Mozart died and was unable to conclude his Requiem. A work of such magnitude cannot remain unfinished. The finest and most talented composers of the age must be hired in order to finish his score. So you are one of his like patrons and you are trying to prove that you can be the one to finish his Requiem. And it is, again, like I said, a theme and stuff that doesn't really resonate with me, but the gameplay is really fun. There is a lot going on. The board and just the look of the game is absolutely stunning. I will say that. But in this game, it's like a hand management game, I believe, where you are using your cards in 2 different ways based off of what is at the top of your card and what is on the bottom of your card. And you are slipping 2 cards on your turn into 2 spots. One being for the top thing, which is going to be an action that you can do. And then the bottom thing is going to be these resources that you get that you need to use. I think there are 3 different types of resources. There's red, white, and black. They're like specific things in the game. But like I said, we haven't played this in a bit and we do need to get this to the table again because it's amazing. But yes, you're trying to get those resources to be able to use on your next turn. And the different actions are, you know, like writing the Requiem, and you are moving Mozart on the main board. You can purchase cards. You can sell a piece of music. You can perform a piece of music. And there's like one other action, I believe, as well. But it is such a good game. There's just so many different paths to victory. And again, like this is one that I want to play again because I want to try different strategies. That's the main reason why I love Merchants of the Dark Road as well. And that is what these two have in common, is that there are just so many paths to victories and you can kind of do something different every time you play, that it's just really, really enjoyable to try different things and see which one works out better and what one you enjoy the most. And it is just fantastic. One that really surprised me, but that is Lacrimosa. Moving into my number 7, this game, I'm very surprised it is this high because this is a game, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I just got like 2 weeks ago, but within those 2 weeks, I've played it like 3 times and I love this game so much. It is another version of a game that I already love, so I kind of knew that I was going to enjoy it, and it is a roll slash flip and write version of a game that I love, and you guys know how much I love roll slash flip and writes, or at least you will once we get to the next few games. But that game that I'm talking about is the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. I love this game so much, and I'm so happy that I finally purchased it. Everyone kept on telling me, because I've always said that I really enjoy the Isle of Cats. I absolutely love it solo, and everyone kept on telling me, Jenna, you need to try the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw because it's pretty much the same game. It's just a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to get to the table. And I can say that I enjoy this one just as much as the Isle of Cats, the base game. This one, like I said, is a little bit easier to get to the table. It's slightly different because you are not so much using like drafting of cards, and you're not drafting cards and then using baskets and stuff. In this one, you just are picking a column of cards, whether those are treasures or Oshak's cats or just normal cats, and you're drawing those onto your boat. So there's not as much to the game as the base game, which is nice because if I just want to have a game of the Isle of Cats just upstairs on my coffee table, I can do that without having to get the big game out. And this is a perfect way to do that. The solo experience is pretty much identical, but again, just a little bit less to do each turn. And I really, really enjoy this one. I was very, very happy that I finally got it. And oh, I also want to say this is published by the City of Games, and it's designed by Frank West, and it is absolutely fantastic. That is the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. I should also mention too that I've only played that solo, and I've only played the Isle of Cats solo. So this is just based off of my solo experience. And if I did have the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw when I filmed my top solo games, that probably would have been in my top 10 because it is just so good solo. I love it very much. So anyways, yes, that was my number 7. Moving into number 6, we have another roll and write. And this is one that I've had for quite a bit, and I absolutely love this game. Again, it's very easy to get to the table, and that is Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. When I first got this game, I kid you not, I played it like every single day for like a week, and I just enjoyed it so much. It's such an easy game to just get to the table. Like I said, you just take a sheet, you take a pencil, you take the dice, and that is it. I will say that this is another one that I mainly play solo, but I've played this one multiplayer a few times, and everyone that we've played it with really enjoyed it as well. We played it with our friends Joy and Caleb. I think we've played it with our friends Tom and Asha as well, and then we've played it with Francis' parents too. And I think this might be one that I could play with my family as well, maybe even my parents. But basically in Dungeons, Dice, and Danger, it is a dungeon crawler where you are trying to defeat monsters and get through a cave based off of your dice rolls. So you're going to be rolling dice and then making 2 numbers that are compiled of 2 numbers being added to each other. So 4 dice, 2 and 2, if that makes sense. And you are scratching out those numbers in the dungeon in order to create paths. You have to obviously scratch out adjacent things. You can't just scratch them out everywhere. And then you're trying to make those paths to the monsters, hit the monsters to defeat them, get different gems and coins and things to get points. And there are 4 different maps that you can do. It's very replayable. I've only played, I think, 3 different of the maps. There's still 1 more that I need to play. But it is just such a fantastic game. And like I said, just so easy to get out and play a game of it, and it is just a lot of fun. So that is my number 6. That is Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. It is published by Ikea or Ravensburger, and it is designed by Richard Garfield, which I believe he is the designer of Magic the Gathering, I think. Okay, so we are a little bit over halfway because we did have the honorable mentions, but moving on to the top 5 of 2022. The next one, the moment I saw this game be announced, I knew I had to have it. I pre-ordered it, and that is Astra. If there was a game to represent me as a person, this is it right here. I freaking love this game so much. It is gorgeous, and it has a little bit of that like rolling right, flipping right feel, but there's a little bit of like area majority to it, which I am very surprised that I love this game so much considering, but I think I've discovered that I just don't like combat. I'm fine with area majority, not so much area control because that usually comes with combat, so I just don't like confrontation with other players, but it's growing on me because I did play Andromeda's Edge and I did have quite a bit of rage and combat in me then, so I don't know what's happening, but anyways, Astra is published by Mindclash Plays, which is, I believe, like a sister company to Mindclash Games, where they're coming out with more approachable, easier to learn games than their typical. And in this game, you are astrologers or astronomers. I don't know, still don't know the difference. I should, because I love constellations and stuff like that, but you are one of those two things, and you are trying to discover different stars, which are constellations on cards, and on your turn you can use Stardust in order to fill in stars in a constellation. If you are the person that fills in the last star on a constellation, you get that constellation card, and anybody that has helped you, so any other players that have filled in some stars, they get a boon or a reward for helping you discover that star, and then you get the card, which is a little bit of set collection, as well as it gives you a like ability that you can use. When you do use it, you have to flip it, and then you can like refresh your cards in order to use their action again. So very, very fun game. Absolutely love the look of it. And just the action of filling in stars and trying to have like the majority on a card before it gets flipped in, and like holding off. Maybe you don't want the card, but you want one of the boons or the rewards on the cards. So you're like, I'm gonna put lots of stars there, but I'm not gonna fill in that last star because you best believe I don't want it. I just want the reward. So yes. Anyways, that is Astra, my number 5. This absolutely beautiful game. I definitely recommend you check it out. It is a lot of fun, and yeah, my number 5 of 2022. Moving into my number 4, this is a game that I've chatted about quite a bit, and I believe the next one is one that I've chatted about quite a bit as well, and you guys might, if you've watched my videos before, know what ones are going to be coming up, but my number 4 is Three Sisters. This is published by 25th Century Games as well as Motor City Gameworks, and it is designed by Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle, and this is an adorable game about gardening. It is a roll and write where you are rolling all of the dice, and you're going to be drafting dice off of a rondelle. Whatever dice you roll, you're going to be placing them in ascending order on the rondelle, and then each person is going to be drafting a die. The dice number is going to be where you can fill out stuff in that numbered garden, and then wherever you take off that die from the rondelle, there's going to be an action there as well that you can play, whether that be you can do another garden, you can like water another garden, or you can fill out something in your tool shed that kind of helps you throughout the game, get different victory points, and there's a bunch of different things on 2 different sheets. This is what I like to call a crunchy roll and write. Yes, crunchy is a word we use here. And I love this game so much. If you enjoy Fleet the Dice game, this is the next in that trilogy, I believe it is now, because they also have Motor City coming out. But Three Sisters is a fantastic one. Pretty similar play to Fleet the Dice game, but I think overall I enjoy this one more. Just the theme of Three Sisters I enjoy, and I love the look of it as well. So that is my number 4, Three Sisters. Okay, we're on a roll here, people. My number 3 is another one I've chatted about quite a bit, but my number 3 for 2022 is Flamecraft. I love this game so much. Can we just talk about this art? Come on. Adorable. But Flamecraft is published by Lucky Dump. Lucky Dump. Sorry, Lucky Duck Games. That is not your name. Lucky Duck Games, as well as Cardboard Alchemy, and it is designed by Manny Vega, and the art is by Sindara, and her art is absolutely gorgeous. I just want all things Flamecraft everywhere, all the time. But in this game, you, again, I still don't know if you are the dragons or not, but you are placing a dragon in this town. There are a bunch of different buildings that you are placing one of your dragons on. At that building, you get a specific resource, and then you can place a dragon at that building and fire off that dragon's ability. You're gonna have a bunch of artisan dragon cards in your hand, and you can fire off that dragon's ability to get more resources. It is a big resource management game, so you're getting resources on your turn, or you are trading in those resources to enchant a shop, and enchanting a shop is how you get victory points, and you're trying to be the person with the most victory points at the end. You also have fancy dragons, which are kind of like objectives that you're doing throughout the game. There can be objectives that you can get throughout the game, or there are objectives that you'll get at the end of the game, depending on which fancy dragons you get. And the production of this game and just the look on the table, it is absolutely gorgeous. And this is a game that I really enjoy solo, but I really enjoyed it multiplayer. And this is one that Francis has yet to play, and I really, really want to like teach Francis how to play this one, because this is definitely not the look of a game that Francis would like, but I feel like he would like the gameplay. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can teach Francis this one very soon. But yes, that is Flamecraft. It is the most adorable game in the entire world, and that is my number 3 of 2022. Okay, friends, so we're getting into my number 2, which this is one that I am making an exception for. I do not have a copy of this game. I have only played this game once, but it is a game that I enjoyed so much on my first play of it. Oh my goodness, I need this game in my life. If you guys know anywhere that I can find a copy of this game, please let me know, because I need it right now. But that game is Twilight Inscription. Oh my goodness. Shout out to my friend Aiden for inviting me over and playing this game. We played a 4-player game of Twilight Inscription, and if you guys do know, Hadrian's Wall is my favorite game of all time right now. I love just the combos and that big crunchy, again we're using the word crunchy, that big crunchy roll and write, just like the comboing and just so many amazing things with all of the different sheets. And Twilight Inscription takes that even further. You have 4 sheets with even more comboing. There is also like voting throughout the game where you're using your voting power in order to choose one thing or another throughout with like all of the people that are playing, and it is just so good. It's also both a flip and write and a roll and write, and I need to play this game again. I know this is going to be a game that I love because it's very, not like super similar to Hadrian's Wall, but it's on like the same lines of Hadrian's Wall, and I really enjoyed it the first time that we played that. So, oh, there's also like different factions that you play too. Oh my goodness, it's so cool. But yes, that is my number 2. That is Twilight Inscription. It is published by Fantasy Flight Games, I believe, and I don't know who designed it, but I would have put it in the little title thing. So yes, that's my number 2. That is Twilight Inscription. So moving into my number 1 game of 2022. Clearly, you guys could tell by the way I was acting when I was talking about Twilight Inscription that I really enjoyed that game. But now we're getting to my number 1, which I will say, I think maybe if I played Twilight Inscription more, it might have been my number 1. But this one we've already played like 3 times within the last like 2 weeks, and we're obsessed with this game. That is Wayfarers of the South Tigris. Holy guacamole, y'all. This is a fantastic game. This is published by Garfield Games as well as Renegade Game Studios, and it is designed by Shem Phillips and Sam McDonald, I believe. And in this game, you are exploring the lands and the sea as well as the sky, which again, going back to Astra, I really enjoy outer space and constellations and the galaxy and stuff, so that's really fun. But this is such a cool game with so many things going on, but so many things that both Francis and I absolutely love. One is tableau building, obviously with the cards that you're building out, with the land and the sea and the sky. And then there's also some dice worker placement and like dice mitigation, a really cool dice mitigation that we are like both obsessed with, as well as some normal worker placement. There's also like the middle track. There's a journaling track, which kind of reminds us of Lost Ruins of Arnak, which we are huge fans of Lost Ruins of Arnak, where you're trying to get certain things to go up a track. And there's a little bit of a race aspect there because once someone reaches the end, that triggers the end of the game. So you're trying to go up that track as quick as possible while still trying to, get as many points with some like set collection. You're trying to get different types of cards in your tableau. Basically on your turn in this game, you can do one of three things. One is you are taking one of your dice and using it as a worker on your own tableau that you're building in front of you, or you're taking one of your like meeple workers and placing it on a space on the main board, or you are resting. And those are pretty much the only three actions. A lot of people say that this is a pretty complicated game, but overall the gameplay is pretty straightforward. It's just the amount of differing paths that you can take, I guess, and the amount of decision making that you have throughout the game with all of the different cards that you can purchase. There's tiles that you can purchase to put into your caravan, which the caravan, again, is like one of Francis and I's favorite thing. Basically, your dice are workers in your own tableau, and your caravan is kind of where you are structuring what each number of die can be used for. So, for example, there are going to be a bunch of cards that you purchase in your tableau that are going to need very specific icons. So there's like a camel icon, there's a telescope icon, and you are using these tiles and putting certain tiles below each of the dice numbers to kind of structure what that dice number can do. So for example, if my 3 in that row or in that column below the 3, I had a camel icon and a boat icon. That means that I can use my 3 dice in those worker placement spots that have that specific icon. So you're kind of structuring what each dice number can be used for you specifically, and like each game it can be completely different, and it's very, very fun. Again, the tableau building, both Francis and I absolutely love tableau building, so yes. I could probably sit here and talk about Wayfarers of the South Tigris for hours, but I'm sure you guys do not want to hear that. All you need to know is that is a fantastic game. It is my #1 game of 2022, and yes, that is that. So those are my top 10 games that were released in 2022. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I do have in my little book here a huge list of other 2022 releases that we just haven't tried yet or need to play. So if you're wondering why wasn't this specific game on the list, it might be because I'm just not interested in it, might be because we haven't had a chance to play it yet, or I played it and I just didn't like it. So these are going to be some games, I'm just going to quickly list them off, that we still need to try that are from 2022. So we do have a few here, one being Gartenbau. This one is absolutely gorgeous and I need to play it. So this one is one that is going to be played very soon, as well as Artisans of Splendid Vale. I need to play that one soon as well. And then for a bunch that we do not own, we have Heat, Wonderland's War, Endless Winter, Longshot the Dice Game, Planet Unknown, Foundations of Rome, The Guild of Merchant Explorers, Acropolis, Turing Machine, Verdant, Clank Catacombs, Encyclopedia, Now or Never, Lands of Galzer, I believe is how you pronounce it, Dog Park, Evergreen, Namiji, Resurgence, The Wolves, Familiar Tales, Dice Theme Park, Joan of Arc, Orleans, Draw and Write, I believe, Delicious, On Tour, Paris and New York. Actually, we have that one. I need to try that one. As well as the Woodcraft Roll and Write, which that actually reminds me that I did have a chance to play Woodcraft once, but unlike Twilight Inscription, I feel like that's one that I need to play a few more times to figure out if I really, really enjoyed it. So Once I get a chance to play Woodcraft more, I will let you guys know if it's one that might have been in my top 10 of 2022. I think maybe at the end of next year, I might go back and like tell you guys after I've played even more 2022 releases what changes would be in my 2022 list. So let me know if you guys want to see that. But yeah, anyways, friends, that is going to be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed, give it a big thumbs up. Also comment down below, like I said, your favorite game of 2022. Maybe like a top 3 would be nice, and maybe some games that you still want to try from 2022. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to join the garden. Also check out, like I said, the Patreon, the Discord channel, the Twitch channel. We are doing a ton of different things here at the Board Game Garden. We'd love to have you anywhere that we can. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends.